A lot of people don't make it through winter with their bees alive. I make it through winter with bees not only alive, but we're still on March the 13th. For all intents and purposes, this is still winter. And just look at all that brood, capped over brood. It's finally warmed up enough. We're gonna jump into this hive. We're gonna take a look. We're gonna change out the winter bee kind. We're gonna put on my feeding system on top. And during the winter, you can see the bottom stand begin to kind of lean this way. So I braced it. And so I'm gonna replace this. I'm gonna take the hive all the way apart, check it all out, look inside of it, see what's going on with the brood and all. But we're also gonna replace this stand. So we got to take the hive completely apart. That'll be fun. And the bees are flying today, even though the winds are over 20 miles an hour. That's Illinois for you. And so today we're going to take a look to see how well this colony did in making brood for me all this winter. So I'm expecting a lot of frame of brood. We're also going to be looking for drones. That's going to tell us a lot about my ability to raise queens, how soon I can raise queens by how many drones are in there. So we've got our work cut out today. I hope you'll join me. I know that some of you may be watching that are experienced beekeepers, and some of you are watching that are, you know, brand new, maybe not even started beekeeping yet in 2024. So let me show you how I light my smoker, and then we'll get into the hive. So the first thing you want to do is look for this bottom grate down in the bottom. Now, this bottom grate for me is already set up, but sometimes they're flat, and they have little legs that have to be twisted outward, so that will be a gap down there and hold the grate off the floor. So be sure and see if yours falls out. If it does, fix those little feet so it holds your fire off the bottom so it can get more air. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to start with some type of starter, what I call starter fire, just something to get the fire going. And in our case right now we're using just some shipping paper, and that will start a fire like that. And what we want to do is use that paper to actually start our burlap burning. So I'm not going to shove it real tight yet, but I'm getting it started by just shoving it in like this. And now I got to keep kind of smoking it, puffing it like this. A brand new smoker for 2024. You're going to see this in all of my beekeeping videos. So now you can see it starting to flame up. So I'm going to push it down a little bit more and keep flaming it. Sometimes when you push it down like that, you can actually cause it all to go out. So that's the tricky part. You got to keep puffing the billows and make sure you have a good flame. And don't close it too soon. Get that going really good first. All right, we got a good fire now. We can close the lid. And once the lid closed, we have a lot of good smoke. Now let's get into that hive. So the bees are having a hard time flying today because it is so windy, and we'll see how long it takes us to work this hive. Let me see what time it is. Okay. Got my winter bee kind that we want to look at. It hasn't been on there too long, so it may still have quite a bit of little candy left on it. We'll see here. Oh, not wearing gloves today. We'll see how that goes. If that doesn't go well, we'll get some gloves on. Okay. We only have a tiny little bit of candy for the winter bee kind there at the bottom. So let's get the bees off. All right, so I suspect that what we'll find in this top super, I think we'll find the queen up here laying some brood up in the top super. Let's just go ahead and take a look here. And usually my hives have eaten through most of the resources in the top super by this time of the year. Yep, beetles have survived the winter, unfortunately. Okay, so we've got honey, some stored honey up here in the top. That means the bees did not consume all of their resources. That's a good sign. And let's just keep working our way across to the middle. We're going to try to determine if the queen or brood is up in this top super, and that will change a lot of things and how we move forward. So don't see any brood right now. We just still see a lot of honey up there. Let's get a little smoke on them since we're going gloveless today. Ready for the third frame across here. I hate to get stung early in the year because it seems like to me, early in the season when you get stung, it hurts worse than in the middle of the year. Aha, just like we thought. Look at that. We got some brood up in the top, and I see brood on this side with lots of larvae. I'm going to put my glasses on, so I want to look for eggs, and I want to especially locate the queen. So let me get my glasses on and do a little bit of close evaluation of those frames up here. This is always the case for me coming out of winter. I've got a lot of bees in there, and we're going to find that we have brood up in this top super. Now, some of you are wondering, what do you do if you have brood in the top super, David? What I do is I let it emerge. Sometimes I'll put a queen excluder under here and put the queen below and let all this brood. But it's still so early in the year, I'm not going to change anything just yet. I'm going to start feeding them. And so that's why I need a little bit more time before I start manipulating it heavily. It's still kind of early for Illinois. This is about March the 13th today, I believe. Yep, so look at that. I'm going to look for the queen because I see a lot of eggs. So here's an example coming out of winter. A lot of eggs have been laid, as you can see. I hope the camera can pick them up a little bit, down in those cells. And it's likely that the queen is up in the super. She might be on this frame, so let's look for her. And that's not a queen cell at the bottom. That big chunk of cell pulled out, those are drones. So they're raising drones, and we want to look to see if we see any drones. I see one drone right there in the middle walking across, and that's a good sign. But he may not be mature enough to mate with virgin queens. Let's look at the other side. Okay, we got same thing on this other side, a frame of eggs. But I don't see our queen. I don't believe, think she might be marked, I can't remember. But the pop out among the worker brood down there, they're drone, and they do raise a lot of drones this time of the year. They need them to mate with their queen. So let's keep walking across and see what we're going to find here. It's too early in Illinois for me to make a split. In fact, it's almost probably 4 to 6 weeks too early to start making splits. We can still get snows and cold weather in the month of March. And this is just a freaky warm season so far. And we're all hoping that it will stay that way, of course. But who knows, right? Remember, this is the technique that I use on feeding my bees all winter long. And they take the food that I give them through my winter bee kinds, and they make a lot of brood all through the hive. So I come out of winter with a lot of bees and a lot of brood. And you can see here how much brood there is. I don't see the queen. Not critical that I find her, just fun. And the reason I don't have to find her is because I see eggs and larvae in all stages. Look at that brand new bee right there, how blonde that she is. She just emerged recently. Look at that, isn't that great? Let's take a look at some more. I don't see the queen here. This is going to be, this is a star winner of a hive right here. I raise a lot of queens from this queen and from her eggs, larvae. So I love this queen so much that she's kind of like a breeder queen for the rest of my property here. I keep raising more queens from here, and you can see why. They're gentle, they make a lot of honey. We did some mite tests if you watched my videos last year. And they have mites, and I only treated them one time just for a video. Then we knocked them down about 50%, but they still went into winter with about 3 to 4% of mites. Still a little bit high. All right. Now here's another frame, and you can see here how much the queen has started laying so much down in these cells. Look at that. Got larvae in various stages. And some worker cap cells there. Anybody see the queen? Help me look for her. I'm looking through my hat and veil. You might have a better sighting of the queen, but she's got to be up here because of all the eggs. Yep, more larvae down in those cells. Again, this is about March the 13th. And so there's another drone. That's good to see. Drones are out and about, but they still may be immature, not mature enough to mate with virgin queens yet in the bee yards. All right, we're working our way across. For those of you that are new to beekeeping this year and you're getting your feet wet, kind of watching this video, understanding what you're going to be doing, always smoke as often as you can. Maybe every time you pull up one frame and get ready to draw another frame up, go ahead and smoke them again if you got a chance. They are bringing in the pollen. I'm going to take a look at it while it's right here in front of my face for the queen. And it's the same thing, good brood pattern, solid brood. And you can see here, probably on your side, the different, it's the same as the other frames I've looked at. Larvae, capped over pupae, and all stages of brood. So that's a really good sign here in the top. That's going to make this hive would be great to split several times. Okay, we're working our way across. Ready for this frame. We're going to get out of brood, actually. As we get further this way, we're going to run into less brood and more resources. And that's how the bees naturally just conduct operations on their hive. They put more of the honey further out from the center of the brood nest area where they can have more area to raise brood. Now this has a lot of drones on it. Let me see if I can get that lighting just right. But look at the number of drones walking around. And some of them look like they've been around for a while. I mean, you know, they don't look brand new. So we might get an early start on raising some queens this year based on the number of drones that we see in this hive already. Still not seeing our queen. That wind is unbelievable. I got a lot of heat that's coming up out of the hive. I can feel it on my hands, even though it's about 67 degrees, just a couple of degrees warm enough to do this inspection. I don't like to inspect hives unless it's 65 or more Fahrenheit, and so we're barely there today. All right, here's a frame that, again, like I said, we get over to this side of the hive, we're going to just have more stored resources over there. So our queen we might have missed her, she could be up here, but what we're going to do is separate this section and go down one into the next deep box. I can hardly stand up, it's so windy. It's going to be harder to do this time of the year. This is the first time we've opened this hive up. So the propolis seal has done its job all winter, and it's pretty heavy. I'm going to keep this box in this configuration here. I'm not going to lean it on an edge. I'm going to put it right there. All right. You know, we've already seen 7 frames of brood in the upper super, and now this is our 3rd frame of brood in our top deep. A lot of people don't make it through winter with their bees alive. I make it through winter with bees not only alive, but we're still on March the 13th. For all intents and purposes, this is still winter. And just look at all that brood, capped over brood. And that's why we're going to start feeding them with my Burns feeder system today, because they need support to keep raising more and more brood. And I love this queen. I want to raise, so I use this hive here as my breeder queen. So I actually began taking grafts off of this hive. Oh wow, look at that solid brood here. Isn't that crazy? There's our queen. See her with the pink dot there in the corner. And then I want to show you this side. Look at that solid brood. Let me just move the bees off. This is all because I feed my bees all winter. I allowed upper ventilation and an open screen bottom board. This works so nicely. See the queen there? Okay. So what is that? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 frames of brood just in the top deep. That's insane. Just a way to keep your bees alive all winter long. That is a heavy frame. And that's these are 3 frames of honey over here. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and we know the hive is in good shape, the queen is healthy, we've got so many frames of brood, we don't really need to look at it anymore, but now we just need to go to manage that bottom hive stand that's failing us. It's starting to fall over, and I don't want to lose this hive some rainy night in a bad wind or something. So we're going to drop it onto a new hive stand. All right, so to do that, we're going to take this deep box off and take the next deep box off, put a new hive stand on there, and put it all back together. I could go on and show you the bottom deep. I'm guessing that we might look at it. We might go ahead and just take a peek because we are going to take this deep off too. So let's see if we can get this one on. I need a little more room. So I hope this is helping you guys out that are experienced beekeepers or new beekeepers to know that if you live in the north like I do, where we got down to 30 below zero wind chill factor, feeding my bees all winter long is the way to go for me, and allow that upper vent, just a very passive upper vent. I don't vent it like crazy. But this is, you can see how many bees I have on March the 13th. And they were eating about 5 pounds of my winter bee kind per week in order to produce this kind of brood. They were eating about 1 winter bee kind a week that I kept giving them. Let me take this support beam out. All right, I think it's solid. I don't want to damage my queen right now because I really can't replace her. It's too early. So we're going to have to really play it safe on how we handle things. She's in this box. I set this box on top of that box. And I like how gentle these bees are. Look at that. I don't just have a few bees at the top. Look at that. I got bees all the way through this thing. This box down below is fuller than the ones above. Wow. This is going to be mostly foragers right now. You can see all the yellow pollen they're bringing in. And I don't suspect we'll see much on the frames in the way of brood, just because we'll be risky since the queen's not here. We'll pull this frame out just to see what's in there. And this will get us close to the middle. All right. It is so full of bees. I would at least encourage you to try my way of doing things. If you lost your bees this winter, or if you're not coming out of winter with a lot of bees, why don't you at least try this? I mean, wow, why not, right? Yeah, that's what I expected. Not much brood or anything down here, but that's fine. This is going to be mostly where they've got a lot of pollen that they're bringing in, stored pollen in the frames here. So these are just where the bees are working, foraging, and that's fine. When we make our splits, we'll use some of these frames to also go into some of our splits. All right, so let's get this box off this broken stand and put the new stand there. And then we'll put our hive back together. Now to get this box off, what you have to do is put your foot on the bottom board. All right, so let's smoke the bees really good across the top here. We're interrupting their attempt. They're already probably pretty ticked off that it's so windy today. Oh, no handle? Okay, no handle on the front of the box. Wow. Let's see, that's pretty heavy. That's a heavy box, so there's some stored honey down here. Some of these frames have honey on them. Now we have to set this over here so we can get it off we can get the next box on, but there's some bees picking up pollen down here. There's a beetle. I never miss an opportunity to kill a beetle. You see that? I'm going to try to get the bees in the box and not all the crap. Well, most of it's just pollen flakes. All right, we need that bottom board. We just need to swap out the hive stand. Hive stand's over there. Got our new hive stand in position. Need to get our bottom board in place. Stay calm when you do this. And there we go. Let's get our this deep over here on there. Yep, I believe it goes this way. They're going to start flying in once the deep box lands in position. All right. Deep box is in. Let's put our next deep box on that has a queen in it. Getting everything lined up good. All right. Whew. Let's give them a minute to fly in. Get some of this stuff out of the way so they don't get confused. Now let's smoke, everybody. Don't forget to smoke your bees. Smoker's still going really good. And do watch the beginning of this video where I show you how to do the smoke, because you want smoke to go like that deep into your inspection. I'll smoke the honey super and get ready to put it on top here. See if I can figure out which face is forward. I believe it's this way. Yep. All right, here we go. All right, good. All right, what we're going to do now, students, we're going to put our Burns feeder board on to support all of the brood that we have and the eggs. So now, in order to get a lot of the larvae supported that we're raising now, we need to make sure that we feed our bees liquid, 1-to-1. Now, let me get the jars and show those to you. They are beautiful. Let's take a look at this. Now these jars have our feeding additives in them. Our feeding additives come with the protein pollen substitute. That makes it the orange look. A teaspoon per quart. 1 teaspoon of Honeybee Healthy. 1 teaspoon of Amino Bee Booster. This is 1-to-1 sugar water to support the bees in raising the brood right now, this time of the year. Look at that. Isn't that great? Ooh. Now we're going to have to put another box around here and then put our top cover on. This will give us access to change out our Burns feeder board there. The screen keeps bees from flying out, and we do have these always available if you're interested in pursuing the method that I use to keep your bees really building up good in late winter, early spring. Now it's important right now that we put a brick on here to hold it all together. Because it's so windy today. And this hive is right on the corner where the wind is tough. All right, did we help square it up a little bit, or is it still crooked? Oh no, that's beautiful. I made it crooked because I was sliding it last year, and every time I slid it, it put pressure on that one leg, but that squared it up good now. Excellent. Glad we did that before we lost that beautiful hive. I really do hope this video today has been helpful to you to show you how to get your bees through the winter. That has really worked well for me. Now, I'm not going to say that my way is the only way or the best way. I would never say that, but I'm going to say it works for me. And I can take you through hive after hive. We'll do that. And it's remarkable. You saw the number of brood frames we have, at least well over 10 frames of brood, maybe 15 frames of brood in winter still, March the 13th. So we've got about another week worth of winter, then we get early spring. But you can see new bees already walking around, foragers ready to tackle all the spring flowers that emerge. I'm not coming out of winter with just 10,000 bees. What did you think? You saw 3 boxes full of bees. There's at least a full-size summer colony in here. 40, 60, maybe 80,000 bees in here coming out of winter. That's just the way I love to do it. I love to teach you guys how to do it. I show you in videos. I make so many free videos for you guys showing you how you can do this. It works so well. And this hive wasn't mite free either. They went through the winter with about 3% mites, 4% I think. I'd have to look back at that video. But they're strong. Beetles weren't real bad. We saw a few beetles. And I have a mentorship program where I would love to mentor you to how to do beekeeping this way. It's a simple way to do it. Don't need a lot of fancy gear. Don't need a lot of I didn't wrap it or anything like that. And I've done this for well over a decade. So it's not my first rodeo. I got another video for you right now where I show you more of the winter bee kinds coming out of winter. Take a look at this video here. I'll see you over there.